Good evening, everyone. This is your teacher and fellow student, Heidi, along with Rhonda, who at some point you'll see a picture of. And tonight we're going to be working with our Claude document, embellishing my document about government systems. And tonight we are going to talk about the critical anomalies that Claude found, and building on some that I found as well. Claude had some ideas that I wouldn't have ever thought of, you'll see. So there are 6 of these points, and we're going to go over the 6 points now at that same, not a huge amount of depth yet, but making sure that we've got everything introduced until we've gone through the entire document. And I think it'll be 4, maybe 5 videos total. And then we'll be able to decide if we want to go into more depth with these topics or move along. There's so much to cover. So tonight we're working on critical anomalies. What did we notice, and what did Claude notice that I do this because I want to keep reminding myself that Claude is not a thinker, Claude is not a person, Claude is AI, Claude is a tool, Claude is looking over what we have all put online, not human knowledge, but what we've put online and making conclusions. So Claude can be treated as a person for purposes of having an opinion, but should not be treated as anything more godlike. Keep that in mind, it's important. So anyway, the first critical anomaly is the US as a separate entry. So when I did the chart in the first place, I had the US being a separate category, not a democracy, not a republic, not capitalist. I didn't anything. I just put it in its own category, and Claude called me on that. Why did I do it that way? And part of it was that I wanted I wanted this to go from being global to being ridiculously local. So the United States, of course, in terms of countries, is our local place. So no matter what else we did, no matter what analysis we did, I wanted to make sure to always bring it back to the United States. So in that sense, I made it separate. But then as it turned out, it doesn't fit into any category. Like, we're obviously not a direct democracy. We are a representative democracy. We are a republic. We are a federalist system. And all those things work together differently than any other country on the planet. And I'm not saying that makes us exceptional in that in that sense of that exceptionalist, that we're better than or whatever. We have the best. I'm not even going there. I don't think that, other than what I was raised with, in the same way that I embody all of our cultural norms and ideas inside of me that I have to sometimes agree with and sometimes fight with. Other than that, I don't think so. But at the same time, some of our ideas and systems I wouldn't trade. So what does that all mean? So the U.S. doesn't fit clean categories. That's how Claude put it. And Claude points out that our constitutional rights have been eroding. That we have these constitutional rights, which is in and of itself a little different than other places as far as that goes. But what's in our Constitution is definitely different in some ways. Some good, some bad. Electoral college and things like having everybody's roles so laid out. So many things that we have just that are different from other places, which means like we don't have the parliamentary system. We have, like I said, federalism, that we have this idea of the states are their own sovereign jurisdictions in the areas that they are charged with. The country has a separate, somewhat equal system, but there's what is it called? The supremacy clause, is that right? Yes. Where the U.S. laws, if there's help me here, if there's a contradiction in the two systems, the federal wins.
Federal Trump. Yes.
Please. And we used to use the word Trump and trumpet and all that. Right. And they have, the meanings have not changed, but have become maudlin. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, that the federal would indeed
Supersede.
Supersede, thank you. That's not exactly a synonym, but it works here, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's a more pleasant word.
I'll say.
Hey, we don't have an idiot president supersede.
No.
Anyway. So that federalism, the fact that the states have certain things that are just for themselves, ostensibly like education, although, that's the only reason why I can sort of look at what he's doing in getting rid of the Department of Education. I sort of get it because it's something that is a state's thing to do. But he doesn't seem to understand how people depend on certain services that he's taking away and who that will hurt and all that. Nor does he provide the means for the states to be. Anyway, I didn't mean to go there. So Claude also brought up something else. Financialized capitalism. Now, let's just look for a second at what capitalism is per se, right? Did you open the other document? The document that talks about all the government systems?
Yes.
Okay. So what does he exactly say about capitalism?
Capitalist.
Like at the end where it talks about unique traits or whatever, what does it say?
Let's see here. Let's check this column. Distinguishing features.
Right.
Private ownership of means of production.
Okay. So did he put in financialized capitalism?
Let's see.
It feels weird calling Claude a he when it's an it, and I don't want to humanize him, but since they gave him a male name.
No, he did not.
Sort of
define
weird.
that in here.
Okay. Did he put federalism? The dogs want to eat, so you may hear whining and grumping. So what did he say about federalism in general?
The land for service system.
The land for service? Is that what you said?
Yes.
What does that mean?
I think that means that oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry.
Did you have the wrong column?
I did.
Or the wrong row? Yes. All right. So
yes.
It's all right. What's federalism?
Well, Claude is saying dual sovereignty.
Dual sovereignty. Yeah. Because that's the states and then the federal government. Now, I'm Googling financialized capitalism to see if it's a thing. Oh, it says financialized capitalism, or simply financialization, describes a phase of the economy where the accumulation of profit increasingly occurs through financial channels. Oh, markets, institutions, stocks, all of that, and like betting on this versus that, and all those extra production methods of finance, rather than through traditional commodity production and trade. Exactly. It's what I've been complaining about, that these people are getting rich not on producing things, but on betting on things and predicting the markets and investing and all of that. And I think that's bad for our economy, but I don't have proof of that exactly.
Right.
Okay. So Claude is saying that because of our financialized capitalism and because of federalism, we have unique contradictions and unique characteristics compared to anyone else. And then he's pointing out that the world's model democracy, i.e. us, exhibits oligarchic and plutocratic characteristics, meaning that we are increasingly led by a wealthy few. Isn't that nice? At least we already knew that. Didn't need Claude exactly to tell us.
No.
Okay. Anomaly number 2. In this case, I'm going to jump to Claude's conclusion before the rest of it, because I think it's interesting that the most stable systems in history are the least studied and the least replicated. Well, what are the most stable systems? Indigenous consensus government. The longest surviving governance system that they went along for thousands of years, but they're the least represented in political theory. And they tend to be based on completely different assumptions: harmony, cooperation, the group. Not quite like socialism. And I think studying the difference between some of these systems and socialism could be pretty interesting. There may be some specific reasons why our Western ideas of socialism and, of course, even the Eastern ideas of communism have not worked. Maybe we're missing something. So, moving on then, for now, to number 3. This one we hadn't thought of at all. The indigenous either, but this we really didn't. I mean, this is, I don't know. Emerging digital systems. There's something called the DAO. There's liquid democracy, and there's futarchy. What do you think? Futarchy. That's a weird word.
Combination of future and
like anarchy.
And archy.
Anarchy, futarchy. Yeah, that's very weird. Okay. Yeah. These are the first genuinely new governance concepts in centuries, and they all attempt to solve representation or scale problems. For example, we have too many people for direct democracy, so we move to representational democracy, which moves toward the illiberal democracy. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by scale problems. Maybe the same thing, that when you're trying to do projects on a huge scale versus smaller scale things. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Nobody's tried to do this at a state level, so we don't know. But these are some of the things that potentially Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance and some of these guys are looking at. Don't know, because Claude didn't say that, and I haven't researched that part yet. There was a system used in ancient Athens. We're now on to the 4th one of these. It worked for 200 plus years, and it's called sortition, which is a democratic lottery. It's pretty much abandoned now. It was recently rediscovered. Citizens' assemblies and things like that, where apparently people come together and then a lottery system, somebody's picked to lead for a bit. I don't think it could be, I don't think we'd get anybody worse. So it'd be interesting. It would be interesting, flies. It'd be interesting to know more about how they did that and what they did if they got a bad leader and all that. So again, something to research and come back to. Moving on to number 5, market socialism success. I hadn't heard of that. Market socialism. Now, market, free market, I'm figuring it's so, I think we looked a little bit at some kind of a hybrid situation, right? Can you look at market socialism, please? Oh, wait a minute. I skipped over something. I'll go back to it. Okay. We'll do all of these and then we'll go back to the future part where you can say what you researched.
Yeah.
Okay. So Yugoslavia and Mondragon apparently tried market socialism and found out that it does work. Nobody's pursuing it. If it works, if it's not socialism and it's not capitalism, what does it mean that it worked? Why isn't anybody pursuing it? And Claude says functional middle path between capitalism and communism, largely ignored. Did he say anything else interesting there?
I thought it was interesting that, it combines the socialist system where the workers own the production, but the allocation of the resources is still driven by the market and not driven by government decisions. So
it would be that kind of flexible, like the willow tree flexible. Okay. It's interesting. I want to know more about that one too. The final one is theocracy. It's supposedly a medieval system, and yet it's surprisingly persistent, and you still have Iran, the Vatican, the Taliban, MAGA, resist modernization pressures, and it's surprisingly durable that we still have religion as opposed to what? Science, politics, the science of politics. I don't know. So, okay, so before we end for tonight, Rhonda did some research for us to find out what these 3 example systems of emerging digital systems are all about. And so I'm going to turn it over to her. Let's start with the DAO. What is that?
The DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, and it is meant to be a political entity, you know.
So using the economic system as the political entity?
No, using what it tries to achieve direct democracy by using the blockchain. And so everyone would vote on the blockchain. Everyone would get a voting token.
So instead of crypto, we have voting tokens. It's sort of an analogous
It's
thing.
Exactly analogous.
Oh, that's a little, okay.
Exactly. It's
We'll
a little scary.
come back and discuss those more, but it
Right.
seems like that leaves it very open for somebody to control the whole system.
And that's exactly one of the problems with it, is that what happens is, like, certain people get too many tokens, they can gather them, and then they could have more votes than, you know, that's one way to control the votes.
It's almost sounding like no matter what system you do, though, since humans are creating the systems, a human can corrupt the system. In other words, we're back to spy versus spy, aren't we?
It's that way a little bit.
Okay. What is the liquid democracy?
The liquid democracy is, they're trying to combine direct with representational. So the idea is that you could vote on an item if you want to, but if you don't feel qualified, you could proxy your vote to an expert. And then the expert votes for you, making the decision.
But that's, okay, interesting, but
Right.
that's sort of like what the Congress is doing with Trump, and I don't like that. Right? Aren't they kind of like deciding he knows better than they do and just doing what he...
Well, yeah.
That makes me nervous too.
Well, yeah.
All right, how about a futarchy?
And
It sounds like a turducken to me. It does. A futarchy. It sounds like animals.
well, this is kind of the weirdest one.
Uh-oh.
In that you have the idea is you vote on your values. You have these values in place, but how you achieve this, they have a market system where people bet for and against what they think will happen. And if there's more people who bet on the think that'll win, then it goes through.
Oh, hell no.
Right? It's a very...
Oh, no.
And the idea is that the betting market is sort of abstracts out a lot of things. And so hopefully you're really getting the true sentiment of the people. But again...
It's not the... One of the things I like about that is, to a certain extent, it takes out some small group of people making the choice. But then, see, it all depends on how they word the questions.
Right.
And then what they do with that information, because the devil's in the details, you know?
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was frighteningly interesting. So pretty much that wraps up what we plan to do for the evening. Again, at that level, we are going to revisit these ideas, because you can see where each of these has something that may inform us, because obviously our system right now is corruptible. It's not foolproof or infallible, and so we could use beefing up certain aspects of it, and that's part of what this is. What else can we do? So when you come back to the next video, we're going to talk about hidden connections. So things like the legitimacy crisis connection and the scale problem. We'll learn more about that. The resource curse, the failed state trajectory, and the colonial legacy. So that is the next discussion. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope to see you next time. Bye.